Hello and welcome to the Online Trainers Podcast, where we go behind the scenes to uncover the latest tactics and strategies top trainers around the world are using to get more clients, dominate their marketplace, and get their clients amazing results. There is absolutely no fluff here. I'm your host, Lynn Trin. Hello and welcome back to episode number 13 on the Online Trainers Podcast. I can't believe I'm 13 days into this podcast show and everything seems to be going well. I'm really starting to enjoy this. I'm getting really good feedback. A lot of you guys have been messaging me saying that the information has been great and it's what has been needed, and it's just a nice little kickstart to your day, which has been absolutely phenomenal, and that's my number one motivator to get this going. Now, today I really want to speak about overwhelm and why overwhelm is stopping you from achieving your success, why a lot of low-level thinking, a lot of getting caught up in the mundane day-to-day tasks, a lot of your time management is holding you back from really propelling your business forward. Now, I can speak about this topic because it wasn't a few years ago where I had a lot on. I'd opened studios. I'd decided that I wanted to market for my sister's dental clinic and, set up a dental marketing company where we got 30 clients, and, I was chasing the money. And essentially I was getting completely overwhelmed because what I noticed, especially when I was running my online personal training business, was that when on a strategic level, when I was looking from a helicopter's point of view and I could see the roadmap and I could map things out, and it became so easy, on the ground where I was in the mud, I was walking through the trees and the bush and things were looking dark, and the end, it never seems to be inside. And I know a lot of you, if you're listening to this podcast show, that you are in the trenches at the moment. Things are dark, you're looking for that exit strategy. You're looking for that nice big boost. But here's the thing, the only reasons why you are getting overwhelmed by your business is what you're really focusing on. And let me elaborate on that point. Now, there's 1,000 things you can be doing inside your business. There is setting up the perfect email autoresponder. It's actually, verifying your domain inside MailChimp or Infusionsoft. There could be setting up your landing pages and connecting that with, your autoresponder inside MailChimp, whatever software you use. And I see this time and time again because I know a lot of you want to build your online business so that you can help more people. You just want to go out there, help more people and get paid. I really understand that. And that's what you should be doing. But on a higher strategic level, you should always be taking yourself out of the trenches and not get caught up on the mundane tasks, the low level day-to-day tasks, because really you should have a think about, on the grand schemes of things, how important is the task that you're currently doing? How important is connecting that email autoresponder as opposed to going out there and delivering more value? So the biggest things that you can be doing inside your business is actually taking really do a self-analysis on the tasks that you're doing every single day. Okay, if you're spending 2 hours a day writing and trying to integrate MailChimp and writing that email autoresponder when you have 30 people on your list, that might not be such a great idea. Whereas you might be able to spend 2 hours a day trying to set up your Facebook ads and trying to set up a video ad so that you're going out there to reach more people. Okay, and this is what I always really try to think about. I try to think about multi-billionaires, Bill Gates, all these amazing people out there have the same amount of time I do, and you do as well. Okay, they have the same amount of time, yet they're able to impact so many different people on a greater level because they pull themselves out and figure out what they're trying to do. They always stay at this higher level strategy game as opposed to the tactical game. Because here's the truth. If you play at the tactical game, you're going to get eaten alive. Okay, you can spend hours a day. I can spend hours a day trying to set up my website, trying to set up a blog, trying to write content. But if I play at that level, my time's going to be eaten and the accomplishment is going to be very, very small. Okay, so here's just a really big wake up, I think, only because the weekend has passed, and really when I do a self-analysis, I kind of go back and I kind of go, which days were really good? Which days did I move ahead? And what you'll start to notice, and here's the very funny thing, is what you'll start to notice, especially when you start to do less, but you're doing a lot more for your business, you'll actually feel guilty. Because you're not actually feeling like you've worked a lot. You haven't been dragged through the mud per se. You don't feel as though you've spent 12 hours a day trying to set things up. But your business has moved forward, okay? Because here's the thing. it is so easy to fall into this comfort pattern of routine that, you should be hustling and grinding. And whilst I do agree, grind and be smarter. You have to be smarter and think at a strategic level. You have to be thinking, okay, what's your overall goal? What's your overall mission in 3 months? Where does your business need to be? And you're always trying to think of a faster roadmap on how to get there. Okay, so I see this because I see so many trainers get caught up on trying to email and send out emails to their email list of 30 people. And I get that. That's fantastic that you're setting up habits to email. But if you're only affecting 30 people, you need to ask yourself, okay, do I have a more strategic plan to reach more people? Should I be running that Facebook ad and putting out a video? Should I be delivering content possibly to my 3,000 friends on Facebook that can possibly share my audience as opposed to the 30 people on my email list? Or should I start building and growing, another platform at this moment in time and not stay on Snapchat? Okay, so really taking a self-analysis of the task that you're doing every single day and going, okay, is this task really serving me? Is it important? And do I really need it in order for me to succeed? Okay, and most of the time, I can guarantee you that it's no. Most of the time, that email that you were so dying and desperate to send out that got you in a really bad, frantic state and it got your heart beating 1,000 times a second wasn't really as important as you thought it was. And the truth be told, it's probably not important because one email isn't going to change the lifeblood of your business at all. Okay, so really, and I really want to get this point across to you only because the stuff that I'm doing at this very moment in time, and this is a journey for you to follow on, and you're going to see me change as this grows, but you're going to be able to wonder, okay, well, how's Lynn doing all this stuff? How's he getting out all this content? And we'll talk about that more on a strategic level where I repurpose content, but I want you to take a look inside your own business at the moment in time and really do kind of a cleanup. Okay, really say, look, and the best way to do this is that you should only give yourself a time limit. You should only spend 2 hours a day on growing your business. That is it. Nothing else. You're not touching anything else. And you should be planning your schedule from a day-to-day basis, okay? The biggest thing, and here's the funny thing, we get out of this corporate world to run our own businesses. But the best thing about the corporate world is that they have this structure. And the worst thing that we can do when we run our own business is not have structure. Okay, so setting up structure is the most important thing to reduce overwhelm. And then giving yourself an hour or 30 minutes or 2 hours a day to get the most important task done. And the way you should think about it is if you only had 2 hours a day to grow your business, what are the most important tasks you need to be done? What can you delegate to people? What can you pay somebody on Fiverr or somebody on Upwork or Odesk to do for you that you wouldn't have been able to do, and they can do that better? Okay. Now we're going to go into a bit of delegation a little bit later on another podcast, only because I've spent 3 and 4 years possibly outsourcing a lot of my, stuff and content over to India, over to Philippines, over to Vietnam. And it's phenomenal how much more work you can get done, especially when you have a team around you. But it comes at a cost. You really need to understand that your time per hour, might be $50 at this very moment in time. And what you want to do is you want to essentially get your hourly rate up because you're selling so many of your courses and programs and online transformation programs that your hourly rate goes up. But this podcast today was really to dive further into productivity. It's something that I know a lot of personal trainers say they work hard, and realistically, you work hard. You're just focusing on the wrong goddamn thing. Okay, you're focusing on setting up your website. You're focusing on the best plugin. You're focusing on what the best software is to use, or whether or not you should use PayPal or Stripe. And you are focusing and you are working, but don't kid yourself. You're not moving your business forward. You're really dragging your business forward with a man on a walking stick trying to get to the other side of the world where you should be flying. Okay, so really today is take a self-analysis of your business. Really sit down and go, okay, if I had 1 hour to do, what are the biggest things that are going to take my business forward? And what do I need to create in a month? What's my monthly goal? What's my 3-month goal? So that when I look back, I can get to there the quickest. Okay, because when you set your goals, you should be able to come up with 5 different roadmaps in order for you to get there. There's not the one. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, right? You should literally have, hundreds of ways to get your business to where you want it in terms of generating that revenue. But your way And this is where the best fitness entrepreneurs succeed. This is where the best business owners succeed, is where you can kind of think at that higher strategic level. So you're really doing the 80-20 rule to pull yourself out and not get caught up. Because getting caught up puts you in a really bad low energy state, puts you in a bad negative vibration, as Bob Proctor would say. And what happens in a negative vibration is you don't get to think, you don't get to tap into your creative faculties and powers. And so you can't create, you can't innovate, and you become very narrow visioned when have you ever gotten so caught up and so frustrated about doing something that you were so stubborn and you couldn't see any other way to solve it? That's the kind of negative state you get into when you're at that low level vibration. As the business owner, the best thing you can do for yourself is actually pull yourself out and take a helicopter's point of view and ask yourself better questions. How can I do this more efficiently? What am I really trying to achieve? Okay, is the task that I'm really trying to achieve, how big is it, or how much is it going to affect my overall grand vision? Because here's the thing, yes, you're jumping into the online space, you are jumping into the online or hybrid space, right? And doing that comes a lot of hurdles. You're going to need to understand tech, but you don't have to know tech. You just need to understand the overview of technology and what resources you need to require. You don't need to really know it like the experts. That's where we come into outsourcing. I really hope that gets you clear today. It's something that was playing on my mind, and really I want to have this podcast to share thoughts and kind of daily activities, because I want you to kind of see what's really capable of growing your business within 6 months, 30 days, 14 days, right? I want to take businesses and I want to show them what's possible for them if you think at that higher strategic level. So really, that's your one task for today. Really dig deep into your business and wonder, what are you doing the most effective things to grow your business, or are you getting caught up? And then in getting caught up, are you thinking at this low level state where you're narrow-minded and you're frustrated and you're like, wow, this is so frustrating. But in the grand schemes of things, it actually doesn't mean anything at all. If you are, get yourself out, plan, have a vision of your 30-day goal, find out what is it that you want to do and figure out the fastest way to get there. Okay, ask yourself, if I had to get here and I had to do this 5 different ways, what would they be? And the question is, and the biggest thing is, when I ask this and I do this exercise with some people, they're like, I don't know, Lynn. And I'm like, okay, we'll start thinking, we'll just jot it down. A lot of the times, you don't know because you haven't done it before. You haven't been able to think at this high strategic level. And it's like a muscle. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. So it's starting to use it, and it's using it every day. And the more you use it, the more strategic you'll become. And so you'll be able to pull yourself out of these low level states and get yourself working a lot more productively, but most importantly, enjoying it. Okay. But what's going to happen at this strategic level is that you're going to wonder, I'm supposed to be working now. I don't feel like I've gotten a lot of work done. But your business has moved forward 10 times faster than working at your low level strategies and low level tactical stuff. Okay. I hope that helps. And that was a different kind of podcast. And let me know if you like this kind of stuff, because I'll dig in more into outsourcing. I'll dig in more into productivity. Just let me know and leave a review. Let me know how you found this podcast. And that way I can know what content, what I can churn out, and what I can do to bring more value to your life. Have a fantastic day. All right, if you enjoyed this podcast, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes, and feel free to leave a review, and that way I can respond and I can take that on board in developing content to serve you. Now, if you're not a part of the Online Trainers Club on Facebook, please do yourself a favor and be a part of the conversation. That's where I add daily tips, tricks, and strategies on how you can build out funnels, how you can get more clients, and ultimately become a better online coach. Thank you for listening.